Katty, Konnie, and Loudmouth Linda, keeping it real, no agenda. Satire, truth, and a whole lot of fun. Politics, crime, we get it all done. From breaking news to a joke or two, we do it our way just for you. We just can't make this stuff up. 1 year strong and we ain't gonna stop. Mic in hand, voices loud, shouting truth, making you proud.
I'm here a little early. Started up 10 minutes early. In shock. Speechless. Good morning, KMM. And is it? Yeah, God bless us with a good morning, but I don't know if I got the verdict I wanted. What do you think? I wanted to come on a little bit early because we got so many things we're following here. We're going to get a news conference, press briefing at the Diddy trial here in a little bit, and I wanted to share that with you. And then we'll go to Kohberger. Wow, guys, what do you think? Good morning, Spudsy. What do you think? Innocent of everything but prostitution. Now let's talk about that a little bit, because here's the thing. I don't think Diddy has much of a criminal background, does he? Does he? I don't know. So, where's all this going to go? The monster could be bigger now than he ever was. And the scary part is, I don't know if anyone has stopped to think about it, but the scariest part in all of this is, will victims be afraid to come forward because of stuff like this? Did women just take 10 steps back? Did they just take some of our rights away? And guys, there's a lot to think about here. Yeah, you can stay clear of him. Stay totally clear from him, right? Don't have anything to do with him. Stay totally clear from him. But what about the ones on the streets, right? What about the little crimes that happen? Let me pull this up so that we can have this press conference ready. Wow, guys. I expected. Now, I mean, okay, here's my thing. Here's my deal. Right. Exactly, KMM. All prayers for all the victims and all the victims to come. Right? I mean, he's beat it. Will there be other victims now? Kind of hard to change. A leopard doesn't change his spots. Let's just say that, right? I don't know what to say. I'm a little speechless right now. Right. Amen, Spudsy. Prayers for the victims. Total prayers for the victims. My thing is he going to walk today, guys? Are they going to get, I mean, he's going to do a little bit of time. We know he's going to do a little bit of time, but But is prostitution, he may get off on probation. Think about that. What about that? I mean, I'm speechless. I'm speechless. What do you guys think about it? I would love to hear your comments. Are you as shocked as I am? You know what I'm going to tell you? I think he's going to walk today, KMM. I think he's going to walk. I think they're going to give him a bail and he's going to walk. And they're saying they don't believe he's a flight risk. I don't know. Is he a flight risk? You think he's a flight risk? I'm actually very saddened and kind of nauseated because here's the thing, guys. Yeah, very, very shocked and very sad. Here's my thing, guys. They basically stomped all over the victims, right? Will he do it again? Oh, I'm sure. He'll just be he'll be a little more secretive, a little more strategic, a little more shady about it, making sure he doesn't get caught. I'm sure he'll be watched. I think he'll just hide things a lot better. But have I said it once or have I said it 1,000 times, guys? In society right now, we have a tendency to reward bad behavior. We're doing it all over the place. I I say that all the time. I mean, the worst things you do now. Let's see, Kohberg. Just now, let's see what's going on here with Kohberg. Okay, here, let me switch this over here. Here you guys go. This is Kohberg.
Yeah, what do you want?
It's not very loud, is it? And I'll continue to watch the Diddy thing.
Would you like to say something to them?
I was hoping we'd be able to see this in court, but it looks like they're not going to show us in court. They're just going to show us afterwards. It's not very loud. No, it's not, KMM. It's not.
He does.
Man, this cameraman is making me seasick.
I'm totally ready. I'm totally ready. Born ready. Hey everybody, we are back. I'm Antoinette Levy coming to you live from the Ada County Courthouse in Boise, Idaho. Breaking details for you. I just got back from DC. Steve Gonsalves, the father of Amelia Gonsalves, he walked in during our food break and walked in with his family into the courthouse.
Let's see here.
Kohberger has a Fifth Amendment.
Sorry, guys. I had put it on pause.
They could have made allocution a part of this plea agreement. They chose not to. They just said, "Look, tell us what you did with the knife, who did you target, and why?" Because there's still a lot of questions here that need to be answered, and families, I think, deserve answers if they want those answers. And the feds, I think they could potentially charge in this case because of crossing state lines. And, I'm not a federal prosecutor, obviously, and have never been a federal prosecutor, but he crossed from Washington into Idaho to commit these murders. And there was some, there's also some potential, there were some suspicions about stalking using the internet and phones and things of that nature. We don't know if that actually happened, but there was a suspicion about that. Tara, your response to Steve Gonsalves, what I told you, he said, again, I just tweeted those clips out on X, posted them on X, and then Long Time will be reposting them as well.
What for the phone?
I don't know. They were here. I think the phone you're fine. I think the computer you're fine, but I think Peter left all her stuff. Is what we're saying. Just warning, but you might. Yeah, I think it is a difficult circumstance, and the Chapin family, I should mention, Ethan Chapin's family, they are here in support of the plea agreement. Manny Mogan's father, Ben Mogan, has told media outlets he is supporting the plea agreement. We haven't heard from Manny's mother, Karen Laramie, yet on whether she is supporting it. Xana Cornode was on. So there are a lot of questions here, but again, I've spoken to at least one prosecutor who's handled death penalty cases who said that you would have a sit down, lengthy, face-to-face conversation about this typically before you would move forward with something like this. And this would be handled in person, and it would be more than just a passing mention before moving forward with something like this. In a case of this magnitude, I know people around here, when I was on the plane last night and when I landed, were buzzing about this. So people are very mixed reactions to this decision. We are going.
My microphone is being muted. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Starting in about 29 minutes. That's when it's scheduled to bring the next week live here on Long Time. And please continue to drop your questions in the
It's working. Sorry, guys.
And I will get to all of them as soon as we can. Our first question is a super chat question. Thanks for the super chat, really girl. Can the judge take the DP off the table and still have the trial? Tara, I think that would be unlikely, but could the judge strike the death penalty and still order a trial?
Thank you. Well, my microphone, I hear this bleep, and then I know that my mic's gone out for some goofy reason. I've got another one. I probably need to think about hooking it up, but right? We got too many important things to do right now than worry about whether my mic's working or not. Or, well, maybe we don't. So we're just kind of all waiting here on both of them. There should be a press conference here in a minute on Diddy. We'll switch over to that, and then we'll come back to this one. Gonna play the switching game here. I would love to hear while we're waiting for all of this stuff. I would love to hear what y'all think, because a lot of things have ran through my mind. But I'll tell you this. This is the one thing that is whole truth that has come through my mind. Diddy may have gotten off right, and he might have beat the system, and the jurors may have not seen the evidence. And all right, fine. Okay, fine. But the one that really counts saw it. Okay, guys. The one that really counts saw all that Diddy did. And he didn't take the jury stand. He didn't take the witness stand. So Diddy's 56 years old. When he passes from this earth and goes on to heaven and meets his maker, I think his maker's going to look at him and say, hey, you know, you thought you got off of these charges, but I'm bringing them up again, and there is no jury here. I'm the judge and the jury. Oh, I know, KMM. I know I couldn't. I know I couldn't. Do you remember there was a case years and years and years ago where the father went in there and just flat shot the guy that did it? Remember that? Remember that? It would be really hard. I don't know if I could do it either, because I would want justice right now. I think this Kohberger case, what irritates me about this Kohberger case, is that the family's not going to have closure on it now. Just because he's going to go in and he's going to file guilty on all charges. He's not going to have to tell why he did it. He's not going to have to tell how he did it. He's just saying, I'm guilty. Okay? And that's all. I don't have to tell you anything from here on out. I told you I was guilty of it, it's over. And I don't know if that's right or not. I think that, in my own personal opinion, I think that since he went in there and he said he was guilty, I think he should have to tell how he did it and why he did it. Still. I mean, he's already said he's guilty. What does it matter, right? Why don't you tell the reason why? But I don't think he's going to do that. And I don't think that's right either. I don't think that you should be able to. I mean, that's like almost like coward's way out, right? You had enough cojones to go in and do it. Why don't you have enough cojones to tell everybody why you did it and how you did it and why you picked out these people? And because he could, that's right. And you know, Donna, I think. Hello, Whoopi. Hello, Donna. Hello, guys. Sorry, I came on just a tad bit early. This is the Kohberger this is Kohlberg we're watching right now, but Diddy's going to have a press conference or whatever here in a little bit. They're going to have a press conference, and I'm watching that closely so that I can bring it to you guys. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the Diddy trial. In fact, you know what, guys? Let me tell you something. I'm kind of disappointed in all of this. If you really get to talking about it, if we really, really get our feelings out here, I'm disappointed in all of it. Because Kohberger doesn't have to tell anything, and he just gets to cop a plea guilty and be done with it. And I don't think that's justice. I mean, yeah, he's going to spend the rest of his life without the possibility of parole behind bars, but that's still not giving the family closure, and it's not giving me what I want to hear either. You know what I mean? I just it just irritates me. That irritates me. And then going on to, and then we talk about Diddy. Well, Diddy thinks he's gotten away with everything, don't you know? Don't you know he is so inflated right now? Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. No, you're right, Woofy. You're right, Woofy. I'm telling you right now, he's getting ready to walk. He's getting ready to go home. And anyone that thinks that Agnifilio is saying that, okay, we can go to that one right now if you want to, because all they're showing is the front of the courthouse on that one too. His ego is inflated the size of Texas right now. He'll just be a little sneakier, a little shadier. But I feel sorry for the victims too. That's what I was just saying earlier. He just stomped all over the victims. I think women's rights just took 100 steps back. Do you think a victim will ever now want to come forward? Do you think they'll ever want to come forward? Because Diddy got off. Nobody believes in it. Believes it. I mean, this is what bothers me about this whole case.
Stay right here with us on this live stream because we will be taking you into that courtroom.
He gets it for prostitution. Okay, so what they're basically saying is Cassie and Jane were prostitutes. They were willing and they were prostitutes. Think about that for a second. We're talking the victims here. It's wrong. It's wrong in so many levels. But you know what? I'm telling the judge and jury to Diddy is going to happen when Diddy passes, because the good Lord saw everything that happened. And if he thinks he got away with that, he didn't. He didn't. He didn't get away. Lord saw it all. So if you think that you got away with something, Diddy, you didn't. Donna, it's true. It's true. But and it may not only be the black women's right. It could trickle down. It could be all over everywhere. I mean, it's all women. No, they don't understand trauma bonding. And you know what? And I think that should be well explained before they go into deliberate. I think that all of this stuff should be explained to them before they go in. Something needs to be done here, guys, because that means that a man can do whatever he wants to you, and you have no leg to stand on. It kind of irritates me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It irritates me a lot. That's why we do a whole lot of praying, right, guys? We do a whole lot of praying. Like I said, The Almighty God is going to judge this case when it's all said and done. This case ain't over. When Diddy goes to meet his maker, he can say, "Yeah, you thought you got away with something, didn't you? Weren't you proud of yourself? Ah, you thought you did. Well, you didn't. I saw it all." It's horrible, Donna. It's horrible. It's horrible. And it should never be this way. And it should never have been this way. And they should never, I mean, they have just as much rights as anybody else. And it's sick. It's sick. And you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, who are you mad at? Are you mad at the judge? Well, no, because they had 12 jurors. They had 12 jurors. Who are you mad at? Are you mad at the ignorance of the jury? Are you mad at the jury for the verdict they came up with? A lot of these were well educated people. So my mind starts thinking here, guys. Follow me here and let's see what you think. So, is Diddy ruined now? Right. Right. Has Diddy's reputation been tarnished? Right. They did, Whoopi. You're absolutely right. They wanted to get home for the holiday. It's like, I don't care. I don't have to deal with Diddy. He's not anyone in my family. He's not anybody I have to see every day on an everyday basis. And, I'm sorry, guys, that happened to you, but we need to get home and do our barbecue on the 4th of July. I mean, that's sick to say it that way, but you kind of feel that way, right? Right? Yeah, Donna, it's true. It's true. People don't care about people anymore. They don't. I'm sorry, but they don't. And we reward bad behavior as a government, and the worst things you do, it's like you're going to be rewarded for it. It's sick. That's all I got to say. It's extremely sick. And I'm saddened by it all. Who do you trust anymore? Who can you trust anymore? I trust my dog. I know that. I trust my family. I trust you guys. But do you think I trust those people out on the street right now? I don't think so. Yes. Yes, Whoopi. Absolutely. We as a society need to do better. We need to do a lot better. Yes, Donna. Yes, Donna, and God we trust. Not it, and that's the thing right there. Like I keep saying over and over and over, Diddy, if you think you got away with something, I'm sad to tell you, you didn't get away with nothing. You know what you did. Come on, guys, think about it. He knew exactly what he did. He knew he was guilty. He was sweating it out yesterday. Had his head held in his hands, and was all freaking out because they had four verdicts. And then what? And then what? This comes out. And all of a sudden he's back to winking, blinking, and nod and thinking he's all that. And now they're gonna look. Now they're gonna go after a bond, and the guy's gonna walk today, guys. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna see him walk out of that courtroom. And I can guarantee you, I can almost see it like it's happening. He's gonna walk out, big, tall, mean, and proud, because he got away with it. You're gonna see it. And he will be even a bigger inflated monster than he is right now. I'm telling you. He'll just be shadier and sneakier about it. And it makes me sick. And if I was a woman, I wouldn't be 10 miles, anywhere 10 miles close to Diddy. Hopefully nobody ever wants to be his girlfriend. Although, let's go there if you want to. Diddy really isn't interested in women. Let's go there. Okay. So he's more interested in men. I'm really superly disappointed in all of it. We can looks like Kohberger is going to be a little while. Let's go over to the Diddy trial and see what they're doing here. I don't know why. Here we go.
Really is of no consequence.
Interesting. So in terms of the appeal court finds that that ruling wasn't proper, you're not seeing that happening at all?
I see them not going against the government, and even if they did, I think they would find it what we call harmless error, and it will not. This is a bulletproof from my perspective. This is a win for both sides, which makes this a bulletproof issue on appeal. We're not going to see him walking on appeal.
Randy, before you get away from us, the RICO charge, was that an overreach in your opinion? Just quickly tell us, how did you view that, an overreach by the prosecutors here?
It really wasn't. I think it was the only way the government saw that it could get in evidence that it otherwise could not get in. I think the government went into this case knowing that it had issues. This was a case that should have been brought locally as a domestic violence case. They went in, they got what they needed, they got their win.
All right, we'll have to leave it there.
All right, Randy, we certainly appreciate you and your insight into all of this.
All right, so we're going to continue our coverage of the verdict. 5 counts Sean Combs was facing, found 2 involving the prostitution charges, transportation there. So we're going to continue our coverage and stay with us. We'll be right back.
Wow. I don't know. I have to tell you something real quick because it's a Blake moment and nobody's talking and whatever. But yesterday, I don't know how close you watched this, but there was a lady that was standing by the door and she kept standing there, and then she'd go around that little door that spins around, and then she'd come back out and she'd stand there, and then she'd ride the door a little bit more, and then she'd come back. I don't know what she was doing. She'd been there every day. I don't know what she was doing. But she's not there today, so that's pretty interesting. She had a manila envelope. I don't know if she was delivering a package. I don't know what she was doing, but she kept riding the elevator. She kept riding the door around and around. She'd go in and then she'd come back around. I don't know, but every time she got in there, my mom was watching it with me, and she'd go, "Oh, look, she's going into the door. Whoa. Oh, here she comes back." It got to be so funny that we were watching her more than we were watching what was going on around. They're all putting together right now. I'm sure it's going to take just a little bit of time, but they're all putting together their "let's let him out" thing. Let's let him out. Don't give him anything here. It's just unbelievable. Really? Wow. Wow. Well, how many That's another question. How many cases are going to come up now, guys? How many Oh, look, she's going to tell us about the weather now. No, I hope not. How many people are going to take their pot shot at Diddy? Why do they have this great big dog there? Little Rod. Little Rod's another rapper. All the rappers are going after each other. It's scary. Oh, is Little Rod a producer? I know he's in that industry somehow. I'm looking for that lady to come walking up again. Where is she? So, now there's a good question right there. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Right. Right. Do you think that they'll bring KK up on charges? I don't think so. That's another sad thing. KMM, I mean, you think about all that. D-Rock won't be brought up. KK won't be brought up. Nobody's going to do the time for their crime. Nobody. Think about it. Everybody is now free. Everyone that had anything to do with it. Free. It's a very sad day. Nobody will be brought to justice. Well, they will later in their life. After they die. But
I will be killing you if you don't hear them. I'll be killing you if you don't hear them.
they're on a break. Yeah, they're on a break in the Kohberger thing. So we're waiting.
Live coverage on the Sean Combs being partially acquitted in the sex trafficking case, avoiding a life sentence. We're going to turn things over to Lisa Evers, who is there in front of the courthouse right now with more. Lisa.
Right. Well, if
Lisa
you're
can hear us
on the street, you've already been in
I
jail.
know it's loud out there where she
Bye-bye.
is as well. Lisa,
Okay.
you got us yet?
Excuse me. No, I'm not.
So anyway, we just want to recap for everybody what was going
Don't you
on.
love it
This
when you
would be a
start
very, very busy
arguing on
day
the
for
camera?
us, but a verdict has been reached in
Hot
the
mic,
Sean
hot
Combs
mic.
sex trafficking trial. The music mogul acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering, still convicted of the 2 prosecution charges.
The jury was looking over this evidence of this case for 7 weeks, and they made their decision after almost 2 days. It was very quick for them to turn this around.
7 weeks, 34 witnesses,
It's gonna be even
took the
bigger
stand,
one.
and we've been having discussions about the weightiest of the charges, the RICO charge, the racketeering, just how much of a burden of proof was on the prosecution to try to find him guilty, conviction on that one alone.
And that burden of proof was not reached by the Southern District of New York. As you can see, between the jury having to mull that over for 2 days and make that quick decision, you can see clearly that evidence was not there for the RICO charge from count 1 and count 2. But the other charges he was convicted on were the prostitution and transporting women across state lines.
Prostitution.
We're talking about 10 years on each of those, and that is the maximum sentence.
A maximum sentence. So he is potentially facing 20 years that we're talking about 55-year-old Sean Combs. However, the judge in this case, Arun Subramanian, has his discretion here. He can do this either way. And then also what you brought up a little while ago, time served, figures into this as well.
9 months that you're looking at there. There's no minimum for the two charges that he was convicted on there, but it is up to the judge's discretion as he has no prior criminal background. So we're going to see how the sentencing plays out. Teams on both sides, Diddy's team, and we're talking about the prosecution as well, trying to figure out what this looks like now as they're supposed to be coming back with notes.
At 1 o'clock. So literally in 40 seconds,
And that's going to determine where Diddy goes from here on out, whether he is going to have to stay here in New York until sentencing or whether he's asking, can I go back to Florida, be in my home there on Star Island, and then maybe a couple other states. We'll see how this plays out, though. We're going to continue following all of this.
And of course, he may have to wear an ankle bracelet. You know, that's also part of the considerations that the judge will take in. But I believe this is going to do it for us here, wrapping up our coverage.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to stay on top of this throughout the day. You can find more information on the 5 and 6 p.m. and follow us live on the Fox Local app as we're continuing following what is happening on the Diddy trial verdict.
Thank you for being with us.
They're going to end it here? Maybe those guys are going to.
So negative. It's going to be on the cover. It's going to be the face of it. Damn,
look at that crowd, guys. Look at that crowd.
I'm standing with the sign. Yes, this message is wholeheartedly I stand with. I stand by this message. That shit.
Right?
No, this.
Right?
I had space for this.
That's a good question.
So I was like, as you see, the spacing is horrible for the sign.
Don't you know it, Donald? Don't you know it?
I thought it rounded it out, but well, what did he do so far? He transported some girls. He transported some hoes.
See, listen.
That's what the current
Listen.
charges stand.
They're stomping all over the victims. Listen. Our society. What did he do wrong? What did he do wrong? He transported some hoes. Guys. Oh, well, that don't matter. They won't seize his money. So he'll be able to get all his baby oil he wants. He'll just go rebuy it. His Astroglide and all that stuff. Maybe he gets it back because he wasn't found guilty. Maybe they'll just load it all back over there again. And all of his freak off tapes, maybe he'll get those back too. I mean, guys. Wow. Wow. If I was a woman, I wouldn't be 10 miles from that man. I would not be anywhere close, not even anywhere near that man. 10 miles is too close. And society won't look at it that way. That's the sad thing. Society won't look at him as being like that. They'll say, "Oh, well, he was found innocent," and those guys, they all were consenting adults, and it was okay that he beat the brakes off these girls because you know what, that was all right. They were consenting. They consented to him beating the brakes off of them. Guys, it's sick. It's sick in so many different levels. It's sick. Sick. Makes me nauseated. And Diddy just sits there with his big old smile on his face, like the demon that he is. These are folks that so much have slavery, have been transported hoes. Wow, just trash thinking. I know, Donna, and it's so sad, and things should need to change. A lot of things in this society need to change. And women have been fighting for their rights for years. Years. And that's not even a racial thing. That's just a woman thing. And, you know, it's okay. What do you think this does to domestic violence cases? Think about that for a second. I mean, yeah, well, they think that that's what they want. I'm not like that. Get you, man. They wonder why there's the movie The Burning Bed. I mean, come on. They want to know why women stay awake, and there are more women in prison right now doing life sentences because they got the brakes beat off of them by their partner, and they waited up till the middle of the night to take care of business, and they went to prison for life. Do I believe that? No. I mean, I think that, they say force for force. Well, we all know that a woman isn't as forceful as a man. They can't beat a man up as well as a man can beat up a woman. You need an equalizer. I mean, they're saying that in the don't put men in women's sports things. It's always going to be the good old boys. You're right. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. I think when the Constitution said all men are created equal, I don't think they meant all men and not women. I think they should have put it because they were thinking at the time that they were going to twist it. I think they should have been all humans are created equal there you go. That's the way that should have read instead of all men because women are created equal with men. I'm sorry. I believe that. I mean, sorry. All humans are created equal. Sorry. That's the way I think. Don't be just saying that the men are created equal. We're there. We're just as important in the whole picture of life as they are. Don't be yeah, the Bible says be submissive to your husband, but it doesn't say husband beat the brakes off your wife. Nowhere in the Bible does it say to beat the brakes off your wife and get away with it. Because it says husbands be submissive to your wife also. So, God made it equal. And we have equal rights right along with them. I'm sorry, I'm on my pedestal here because I believe that women are just as equal as a man. I know, Donna. I know. I know, but some people take that literally. All men, and it's like, wait a minute. Just because you're taking that men in there, there is men in women. Women has men in it. So just stop. Don't give me your stuff here. It's unbelievable. Just I was reading a thing one time where it said there's a guy in everything, like there's a man in everything, like gynecologist has guy in it. Just saying. It was kind of humorous. Um, but there is men and women. So we are created equal. It's a very, very sad day when somebody can get away with what he just got away with. I mean, they even testified to saying they said no, and he made them do it anyway. That's forced. That's forced. But what they're basically saying is Diddy was a pimp. Okay. I don't think so. I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think there was a lot more to it than that. And he walks. You watch, guys. We're going to watch him walk. We're going to watch him walk. And you're going to watch my face turn redder and redder like a thermometer, because I don't believe the man should walk. I don't think he should be out there with a ankle monitor. Do you think he belongs out there with an ankle monitor? I mean, he could do freak offs with an ankle monitor on. I mean, did he participate? No, he made them do it while he sat back in the chair. I mean, wrap your brain around it. And these are intelligent people. There were very intelligent people on this jury. And I wanted to say, you're so intelligent, you're common sense stupid. But they've spoken. And what I have to say doesn't really amount to, as my mom would say, a hill of beans. I'm just disappointed. How about that? Very disappointed in the American system. That it's okay. It's okay. You can do what you want to whomever you want to, because you know why? Because it's okay. And if you have a good enough attorney, there it is. It's all about this, guys. Justice. It's all about this. You get real justice if you have a lot of money. Right. I don't know if that's real justice or not. I think that's injustice if you have a lot of money. But this is what's happened. This is what's happened to our society. Love it, hate it, that's the way they are. It needs to change. People need to change, because if they don't, it's going to get worse from here. It can only get worse. I made the comment, I thought that we were Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. Well, there you go. There you go. You know, I'm sure that God is thinking, I was a little rough on Sodom and Gomorrah after looking at what's going on in America right now, in this world right now. Maybe I was a little tough on Sodom and Gomorrah. Maybe I should bring that back. Unbelievable. I'm sure his family's happy. His daughters, his mom, the boys, everybody's happy. It just trains him to be a little more careful next time. There won't be a next time. I don't think he'll ever get popped for anything again. My question now, yeah, they're going to, well, and wait till he comes walking out. He's going to be like remember in Ghostbusters, the Puff Marshmallow Man? Well, this is going to be Diddy when he walks out the door today. He is going to be inflated like you wouldn't believe, with a big old smile on his face, and then he's going to drop the Lord and say, you know, the Lord got me out of this. The Lord knew God watched over me. He knew I was innocent, and I'm going to puke. Because you know what? God knows you're guilty of sin. Or are you? God will tell in your final days. God will let you. And you know, if you believe in karma, karma may have its day too. In this case, will anyone want to deal with Diddy anymore? Is anyone going to really want to have much to do with him? I mean, we all saw the video. I don't think I would want much to do with him. It's interesting. Linda's doing good. Her family's doing good. She texts me. She's disgusted. We're all disgusted. She's disgusted. After we finish streaming here, I'll give her a buzz and see how everything's going with her. I don't know, guys. I think so far everything's going good with Linda. I know that she was disgusted with the outcome of this. That was the first text message I got. Oh, is it? Okay, let me see. Let me see. Okay. All right, let's see this.
All right, this is CR 0124316665. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Thompson, Ms. Jennings.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Pardon me, Ms.
As a listener,
Taylor,
right
Ms.
back.
Massoff, and Ms. Barlow. The state's present with Mr. Thompson, Mr. Horowitz, Ms. Jennings, and Mr. Nye is here as well. Am I miss anybody? I'm sorry.
Ms. Allen is here as well.
Ms. Allen is here as well. Very well, thank you. All right, we are here today to entertain a change of plea. Before I start, I want to address some issues of concern and otherwise. First, I appreciate everybody in attendance today being on their best behavior. Please, no outbursts or demonstrations. Any such conduct will result in immediate removal and may result in an inability to attend further court proceedings in this case. I want to point out that there have been calls by some for the public to contact me and my office in an attempt to influence my decision-making in this case. This has been extraordinarily disruptive for court staff and the ability for them to get work done, not only in this case, but in other cases where defendants are entitled to have their cases processed, and frankly, as important, if not more so, for victims to have their cases processed in those cases. It's also highly inappropriate. A court is not supposed to, and this court will never take into account public sentiment in making an opinion regarding its judicial decisions in cases. Courts should, and I always will make decisions based on where the facts and the law lead me, period. I have not read any of the numerous messages nor listened to any of the numerous voicemails that have been sent to me and my staff. Those have all been forwarded to security and, where appropriate, to law enforcement. I ask that you not continue to mount such campaigns or to send me information like this, because again, it is not appropriate and frankly not something I would take into account when deciding a matter in a case like this. I also want people to understand some very basic concepts about the ideas of separation of powers, what the court's duties are, and what the duties and the rights of the executive, or in this case, the prosecuting attorney, is. The executive, the elected prosecutor, is the sole authority in deciding what charges to pursue, including whether, as well as what penalties to ask for, and what penalties to pursue, including the death penalty. This court cannot require the prosecutor to seek the death penalty, nor would it be appropriate for this court to attempt to do that. This court, in considering a plea agreement, if it were to reject this plea agreement, cannot force the state to seek the death penalty. My role and power in considering a plea agreement is extremely limited. My role is to ensure that the defendant's plea is given freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. If those things are met, I can only reject a plea, such as the one in this case, where I'm not being asked to agree to the sentence in advance. I can only reject it, for example, if the defendant does not meet or admit to all of the elements of the crime. That is, I can ensure what is called a factual basis to the plea. Finally, I want to offer my apologies to all the families, including the victims' families, the families of the defendant, for the short notice for today's hearing, and I'm sure what must have been the hurried efforts to get here. I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial, as had been indicated, and my staff and I were busy continuing to work on preparations to have potentially 10,000 citizens of Ada County come to jury duty starting in mid-July, with the questionnaire process in mid-July. It was, once I learned of the defendant's decision to change his plea in this case, it was important that I take the plea as soon as possible because of the extraordinary administrative efforts that were otherwise attendant to the process of this, getting this trial potentially underway on time, and including the significant process of bringing, again, potentially up to 10,000 jurors to come in and fill out juror questionnaires prior to the beginning of the voir dire process. And so it was important that we, if we're going to go down this road, do so expeditiously so that we can avoid those costs and expenses associated with that. Otherwise, if it was not going to result in a plea, or if for some reason the plea were to fall through today, that we could continue diligently towards trial at the time specified. And so that obviously required that we act quickly. And so some folks may have not had the amount of time that we would otherwise allow for them to travel here. And so, again, I apologize for that. I want to make people aware that during the hearing, if you are to leave the courtroom for any reason, you will not be readmitted during the hearing. Also, when we finish the hearing this morning, I ask that the public and media wait in their seats until the victims' families and the defendants' families and others are escorted out of the courtroom before you start to leave. Finally, I want to acknowledge the trial court administrator and her staff, the Ada County Sheriff, and Ada County 4th District Marshal Service for the huge lift that they've accomplished in preparing for and orchestrating this hearing today, as well as to all the security attendant today that you see, and some of whom you, many of whom
It
you don't
is,
see,
Norm. It's
with less than 48 hours
Kohberger
notice.
trial.
And so I appreciate the hard work that they've been doing. Frankly, some of them while they were on some vacation prior to the trial starting and had to call that short. And so I appreciate very much their professionalism and dedication. All right. That said, let's move to the business of today.
He seems like a no-nonsense.
I understand the state and the defense have reached a plea agreement in this case. For the record, I have a written plea agreement which indicates in sum, the defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment, burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. The state and the defendant stipulate, that is, that the defense is not free to argue for a lesser sentence at sentencing to the following. The defendant on the burglary charge will be sentenced to 10 years fixed, and that the defendant on counts 2 through 5, the 4 counts of first-degree homicide, on each count would receive a fixed life sentence, all 5 of those counts to run consecutive to one another.
I'm not sure of the city.
Defendant, as part of the plea agreement, waives his right to appeal, as well as his right to appeal the sentence and his right to seek leniency or reconsideration of the sentence under Idaho Criminal Rule 35. This is not a Rule 11 agreement, meaning the court is not bound by the plea agreement and could impose a different lawful sentence at sentencing. The stipulated agreement between the parties is the maximum on each count. So theoretically, the only thing the court could do would be a lesser sentence at sentencing. But the defendant is not free to ask the court to do so under the plea agreement. Are there any other material terms of the plea agreement that the parties would like to make? Obviously, the plea agreement, the written plea agreement will speak for itself and be part of the court record.
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, very well.
It's Moscow. It's being held in Moscow, Idaho.
Miss
I just looked it up, KMM. It's
Taylor,
Moscow.
have you had sufficient time to discuss this case and all of its ramifications with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Have you discussed fully with him his rights, defenses, and possible consequences to him of the guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been able to do all the discovery you feel necessary?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you informed your client of the importance of providing the court truthful and accurate answers in taking this plea today?
I have.
Have you apprised your client of any and all offers and counter offers and answered his questions about those?
Yes,
Do you consent to the entry of the plea today?
I do.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, I need to ask you some questions this afternoon, or I guess it's this morning still. I do this to ensure that you so that I am assured that you understand the nature of the charges to which I understand you're going to plead guilty, as well as the possible consequences to you of your guilty pleas. I want to make sure your plea is given voluntarily, and I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. If you attempt to plead guilty today, but for some reason I don't accept your plea, then it is possible that your statements today could be used against you later at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And now while you're standing, actually, why don't you take the oath from the clerk?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter not given before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Kohberger, just to make it easier, you don't need to stand when you speak to me. I appreciate the sign of respect, but for convenience, you can remain seated, all right? Before I start asking you questions today, have you consumed substantive questions? Let me ask you, have you consumed any alcohol, drug, or other intoxicating substance that would impair your ability to understand or exercise reasonable judgment?
No.
You feel like you are thinking clearly today?
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the possible penalties are for each of the crimes to which I understand you're going to offer a guilty plea today. They include on count one, the burglary, a fine of up to $50,000 and a period of incarceration of up to 10 years in the state penitentiary. You may be required to pay restitution to any victims of the crime. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 for first degree murder. The consequences include a fine of up to $50,000, a period of incarceration of life imprisonment, which is a requirement of a sentence, that it be a life sentence with a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 10 years on each of those counts. In addition, you would be potentially responsible for a fine of up to $5,000 to each of the victims of your crime to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry a firearm, the right to serve on jury duty, the right to hold public office, and the right to vote. Do you understand the charges and all those possible consequences?
Yes.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that you've been charged with that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Is anyone other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my questions today?
No.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the possible consequences to you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory questionnaire that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
And are the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
With an auto pen? Just curious. Sorry. Had to put that in.
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case. Should you not plead guilty, did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you did not wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You understand you're giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the state would have had to have proven at trial had you, to the crimes that you're pleading guilty to, had you, if you didn't plead guilty. Let me find the document. Hang on a second here. All right. So as to count one burglary, the state would have to have proven that on or about November 13, 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, you unlawfully entered a residence located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. As to count two, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. As to count three, the state would have had to have proven that on that same date in Latah County, at that same address, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. As to count four, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. And then as to count five, also murder in the first degree, that on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing him, from which he died. Do you understand those things the state would have had to have proven?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove those things because you're admitting those things are true?
Yes.
I want to also make for the record, the defendant has provided with the guilty plea advisory form a document entitled Written Factual Basis that purports to have the defendant's signature dated 1 July 2025. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And did you agree with the written factual basis that is included there?
Yes.
Um, And then let me ask you, did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its recitation of its factual basis had this case gone to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the organization of the recitation is different than what I think the court and the public may be familiar with from the probable cause affidavit and other documents. The state's evidence, as an overview, would show that back in March of 2022, when the defendant was residing in his parents' residence or residing back in Pennsylvania, his home state, he purchased online a K-bar knife and sheath with an Amazon gift card that he had purchased shortly prior to the purchase of the knife, sheath, and sharpener. Jumping ahead, the end of June of that year, the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, moved from Pennsylvania to Pullman, Washington, which is right across the state line from Moscow, Idaho, for the purpose of pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University. The state's evidence would indicate that beginning July 9th of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone began connecting to a cell tower that serves the area of the 1122 King Road residence in Moscow, Idaho. Now, I will acknowledge for the court and all present that there are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants. Between July 9th of 2022 and November 7th, the defendant's phone connected to that particular tower during late night, early morning hours, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. on approximately 23 times. Now, I will acknowledge also, we do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area on those times. In the interim, on August 22nd of 2022, Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Duke conducted a traffic stop in the early morning hour or late evening hours, about 11 p.m. On the west side of Moscow, on the Moscow-Pullman Road. This was a traffic stop of Mr. Kohberger's car, which turned out to be a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. During the course of the traffic stop, Deputy Duke was able to obtain Mr. Kohberger's name, Bryan Kohberger, his phone number, and his address, which at that point was an apartment address in Pullman. We then move to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The state's evidence would show that early morning hours on that day, Mr. Kohberger's phone left his Pullman residence, which is an apartment in kind of the central northwest part of Pullman. That phone was then subsequently turned off at approximately 2:54 a.m. and remained off until approximately 4:48 a.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November. The state's evidence includes that would include a trial, video surveillance of a business on the Moscow-Pullman Highway, just across the state line from Moscow. It would show a vehicle matching the description of the defendant's Hyundai Elantra entering Moscow at approximately 3:02 a.m. Compiled surveillance that the investigators put together from businesses and residents then show the defendant's car, the white Elantra, as I've described, circling the 1122 King Road area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. Comes into the immediate area of 1122 King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. And approximately 4:05 that morning, the defense car had entered that area, was leaving, stopped at the intersection of King and Queen Road, did a U-turn, and the state's evidence would show that the defendant's car came back and parked behind and above the 1122 King Road residence. The state believes that its evidence would then show that the defendant entered the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. Defendant entered the residence, went to the third floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason, ended up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Madison Mogan's body. And I can jump ahead. That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath. The state's evidence would show that Xana Knodel was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the third floor. It was on the second floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed blade knife. Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were two other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, the defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom would see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walinta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County. About 4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks it heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning. Later that morning, Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone returned to the area of King Road. We don't know exactly what he did, but it returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. He was there for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone in what appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up.
Wow.
The defendant's phone then went to the Lewiston-Clarkston Valley, approximately 30 miles south of Moscow and Pullman. And the defendant is actually seen with his car at various businesses down there. This area is the confluence of the Clearwater River and the Snake River. Lewiston is Idaho's seaport. Large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined, on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th of 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes, to replace the one that was left at the scene of the murders. The evidence also will suggest that there were at least attempts by the defendant to delete or alter his purchase history on Amazon, where all these transactions had occurred. Later that week, the state's evidence will show that Mr. Kohberger went to what we would call DMV, motor vehicle licensing here in Idaho, in Pullman, to change his car registration from Pennsylvania to Washington. That's of note because Pennsylvania cars do not require a front license plate. The vehicles seen on the surveillance cameras of the defendant's car showed it didn't have a front license plate on it. At the time of the traffic stop by Deputy Duke in August, it was Pennsylvania plate.
You too, KMM. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you on Sunday.
Mr. Kohberger proceeded to finish his semester of studies at Washington State University and returned to Pennsylvania for the holidays. Law enforcement at this point were aware of
I know, Norm, isn't that sick?
accessing information about him, were trying to find him. They located him in Pennsylvania, and they conducted what's called a trash pull. During the nighttime hours, agents of the FBI, who assisted immensely with this case, working with the sanitation department back in this neighborhood in Pennsylvania, took trash that had been set out on the street for collection.
Expression on this judge's face.
Sent the contents of that from the Pennsylvania residence of the defendant's parents to the Idaho State Forensic Laboratory, where the lab experts there were able to identify DNA on a Q-tip as coming from the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath that was next to Madison Mogen's body in the bed. Subsequently, an arrest warrant was issued here in Idaho, and a search warrant was issued in the state of Pennsylvania with the assistance not only of the FBI, but the Pennsylvania State Police. Mr. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home to return to Idaho. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene. I can tell the court and the public the weapon itself, the knife, has not yet been recovered. I can tell the court that the defendant's apartment in Pullman was searched, as well as his office. Spartan would be a kind characterization. There was virtually nothing there. Nothing of evidentiary value was found. And of course, we are now talking 6-8 weeks after the time of the killings. In Pennsylvania, the defendant's car was seized, and it was actually pretty much disassembled internally. And it also had been cleaned. There was a bucket of cleaner right beside it. I think we can all look to our own cars, you know, in those compartments in the doors. You can try to keep them clean where you put stuff. There's always some degree of crud in there. They were spotless. Vince's car had been meticulously cleaned inside. And the state would present to the jury that that was part of the defendant's plan in covering up this. The defendant has studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing when he was working on his pre-doctorate degrees, and he had that knowledge and skill. So, Your Honor, at the end, the state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of, and that to present in court would consume weeks, which the state is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, excuse me, Mr. Kohberger entered the residence of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted, and that he then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice forethought, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Colonel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Good enough
All right,
evidence on
based on the state's proffer and importantly, based upon defendant's explicit admission to committing these crimes, the court finds there is a factual basis. Therefore, with respect to count 1, burglary, felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 2, murder in the first degree, as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogan, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Right. The court will find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and each offense and the possible consequences to him of his guilty plea. The court finds that there is a factual basis for the plea and that finds the defendant believes the plea to be in his best interest. I find that the plea was given freely, voluntarily, and was intelligently made. I accept the plea. I direct that it be entered. I'll continue the matter for sentencing in this case. I think it was mentioned on the call Monday afternoon, the defense wishes to waive a pretrial investigation. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow.
The state also?
Yes, Your Honor, the state does not believe pre-sentence investigation is needed given the evidence that is available. We want to, though, make sure that all of the victims have the opportunity to make statements to the court at sentencing.
Absolutely. And certainly both the state and the defense may present whatever sentencing memorandum and other documents you wish me to consider. The victims will be given an opportunity to provide the statements that they wish to at sentencing. Do we need more than 1 full day for sentencing?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. We have numerous victims, and we have victims who share unique perspectives on this, and we want to make sure that they all have time to express their feelings to the court. But I believe that if we can start perhaps 8:30 or so in the morning, that we should be able to complete it all in 1 day.
Defense agree with that in terms of the time frame?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So as it happens, we have some time reserved in this case in July and August. The week of July 22nd is available. I don't know if that's too soon for the parties or the next week, the week of August 4 is available. Any preference?
Your Honor, we're prepared as soon as the court wants to schedule it.
The state, I believe, would be prepared on the 22nd. We've told the victims' families that we're looking at approximately those dates.
All right. So because of the plan to bring in so many jurors to fill out questionnaires, I had ordered that no other trials could take place in this courthouse the week of July 22nd. And so we will use that in terms of the sentencing date because of what I'm sure will be the significant interest of the media and the public and the logistics that will be required to make that happen. Without trials going, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So let's pick that week. Why don't we pick July 23rd with the idea that if for some reason we don't finish, we could continue into the 24th. We'll start at 9 in the morning. Does that give your team enough time, Sandra? 9 in the morning? All right. Any concerns with that date?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, sir.
All right. Any reason why I should not rescind the non-dissemination order at this time?
You're right. I think that given the history of this case, it would be best if that remained in place through sentencing. So we have time to make sure there's the ability to completely answer questions. That would be the state's preference and recommendation.
Would have no objection for the order to remain in place through
All right. I will, at this point, the idea to keep it until sentencing, which time it would be withdrawn in order to give the parties the space and time to prepare to meet what I'm sure will be the deluge of media requests. That's at least my preliminary decision at this point. We can always revisit if it seems to be, for some reason, I should. That said, obviously, I don't think the defendant, a bond was ever set for the defendant. Were it would be revoked. The prior order allowing him to come in civilian clothes is revoked, given his plea.
Wow.
And no longer the presumption of innocence. And in fact, now the actual conviction for the crimes. He will continue to be held at the jail pending sentencing. Is there anything else today?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
I assume that the trial date will be vacated and those 4 jurors will be released.
The trial will be vacated, and I'm sure that the jury commissioner will get word to those that receive their summons that they won't be required to attend. So that said, again, if you would all please wait for the parties and the victims' families and others to leave the courtroom before you do, I would appreciate it. And with that, we're adjourned.
Wow, guys. Wow. So I guess we'll all be back here July. We will all be back here on July 23rd and maybe the 24th to see exactly what the sentencing is, right? We're back to the old Diddy over here. We're waiting to see if they don't release him. Oh, look at all that noise going on there. No wonder I had that on mute. They're supposed to be giving a press conference. So I was kind of curious, but I'm sure they're probably waiting for the press conference to see if Diddy's going to walk today, right? What did you think about that? I'm like, they had the evidence right down to the minute. And did you think that he showed any sign of remorse at all? Or I didn't think he showed any sign of anything. Old Kohberger. He was just kind of, I don't know what to think about him. So it's an evil, dark world we live in. And he had it calculated. He thought he did the perfect crime. What a sicko. Yep, I'm with you 100%. No, you know what, Sputsy? There's a man that looks just like him that keeps walking in and out of the courthouse. And I thought it was him too, but it's not. It's not. But there's one that looks just like him that keeps walking in and out. I don't know if it's a brother or what it is, but yeah, there's one that looks just like him. They're in there right now trying to figure out whether they're going to get him bail or not. And of course, if he gets bail, it's going to take a little while to get him out of there. Here comes the family. Is that all his kids? I know he has like 10 of them, but holy cow. I'm sure that's family and friends. Wow. I guess they decided it's lunchtime. They're going to go grab a bite to eat while they continue deliberating. There is. There is. But see, there is a Diddy clone. Looks just like him. They're all walking out, going to go grab a bite to eat. And yeah, it would not surprise me in the least if we don't get here in just a minute that Diddy put up $1 million bail and yeah. Yep. He put up $1 million of bail and they're going to let him walk with an ankle monitor. That's what I expect. And you know, just because you're wearing an ankle monitor doesn't mean, come on, it doesn't mean that you can't do freak offs and do all that crazy stuff still with an ankle monitor. Yeah, he's going to have, you watch, for the 4th of July, it's going to be a red, white, and blue freak off party and then he's going to have a beautiful ankle bracelet on. Maybe he'll what was that thing that we used to have? Bedazzle it. See? Well, see, Norm, that's what he's all about. You know, that's a really kinky one to have. Here, we're going to really have a kinky one with the freak out party with my ankle monitor. I may pay a little extra because I'm wearing an ankle monitor. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I'm sure he'll have it bedazzled, you know, because he's all about bling. Maybe it'll have fur on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's not funny. None of this is funny, but I'm telling you, the man is he's a sick man, sick man. And I'm waiting for this press conference, but I'm sure they're waiting patiently to get the judge that's going to say, okay, well, everyone get that steel ankle bracelet out. Make sure it's made of titanium so he can't saw it off or mess it up in any way so he can't get on his private jet and fly out of the country. Knowing Diddy, he'd figure out how to get it off and put it on someone else while he flies all over everywhere. I mean, nothing would surprise me in this case at all. It has been a circus since day one. Look at all these cops. It's like, you know what? We're going to have to hold this group back when he comes walking out of here because they're all going to rush him and want to pat him on the back and shake his hand and talk about how wonderful he is. You're such a good guy. You beat the feds. Good for you. Whatever. Unbelievable. So I guess we'll be back here on the 23rd and the 24th to hear about Kohberger. I got to put that on my calendar so I know that to definitely be here because, you know, I'm old and have memory loss. No, I'm just kidding. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the 27th of July is when they do the pre-hearing for Carmelo Anthony. So I got that written on the calendar too, so that we can come in here and see the pre-hearing on that one. Of course, the case won't go until it's not going to go to trial until 2026, but at least we can see the preliminary part of it. And then we'll come back. We'll see that the 23rd and 24th to see what they're going to do to old Kohberger. And now we're waiting to see Diddy walk out the door, inflated like the Puff Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, because his ego is going to be inflated like you wouldn't believe. He really thinks he won something here. And did he? Did he really win something? Diddy did it. Diddy did it, and Diddy got away with it. That's all I got to say. Look at, there goes an accident attorney. You're going to need that phone number. Look at all those press people. They're probably thinking, oh my God, really? How long are we going to have to wait here? Well, dude, the judge is taking his time here. Let me turn this on a little bit here. Kind of hear it a little bit in the back. Yeah, Diddy do. That's right. That's right. Diddy did it, and Diddy got away with it. And everybody, you know what, guys? Think about this. Remember, they had that big old party recently. They had that big old party saying Diddy was going to be set free. I mean, what did they know that I didn't know? Somebody knew something. I don't even think Diddy knew yesterday. These poor police officers are going, can we get this over with? Let's get this done and get this over with, because you know what? I got claustrophobia with all these people here. They're selling puff shirts out there, I'm sure. Everybody buy your puff shirt. Come get your puff shirt. Unbelievable. Just saying. This is like the OJ trial when he got let loose. They're all having a good time while sitting here waiting. It's it's crazy. That's all I can say is crazy. I can see him walking out that door as proud as a peacock. I just see it, guys. I just see it. He is going to be so blown, chest blown out, and he is just going to be just like all that. He's going to be so inflated that he got away with something. I beat the feds, and he was already a monster. So can you imagine what kind of monster he's going to be now? Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. Just wow. Unbelievable. Oh, okay. So look, they're not going to have the bail hearing until 5 p.m. today. Yeah, somebody did get paid off. Spetsy, you know they got paid off. Somebody, I think there was a plant in that jury. I really do. I believe I believe that they had somebody planted in that jury that got, I really do. I got a funny feeling. You know, here's my thing, guys. Has anyone stopped to think that if he gets out and gets to walk in the streets, do you think that he's going to harm any of these victims that got up and testified? I mean, I'd be a little afraid if I was a victim or I was the one that testified. I'd be a little afraid of him. I think the man has got a lot more than just this going on. I think that he was involved in Tupac, and I think he was involved with Biggie, and I think he was involved in a lot of things that didn't get brought up in this court. And I think that I'd be a little worried. Just that's my own personal opinion. I don't know. How bad can it be? That's exact. You know what, Donna? It's a scary thought. It's a scary thought. It could happen. Could definitely happen. Could definitely happen. And what are they all gonna pass from Limonia like Kim Porter did? Just saying. I don't know. That'll be stuff to watch for too. Of course, I think he's going to be a lot sneakier, a lot more careful. I'll be curious. I'll be very curious. Excuse me for just a second, guys. My babies need to go out the backyard. Hang on just a second. I'll be right back.
Is it your personal or is it like a generic little black one at the bottom here? What? We're, yeah, put on the bottom here. Okay. I was about to say, it's just, just swap them if they're the same thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. If we just swap out the microphone because this is like Jenga up there. Okay. Let me say one. Okay. Oh, it's a little different. All right, I got it. No problem.
They sure didn't want to stay out there very long. They walked out the backyard and said, "Hey, it's 100 billion degrees out here. Let me get my business done and let me back in. Don't you dare shut that door." Wait, Wolfie, give it a second. Give it a second. We're waiting to find out whether Diddy's gonna walk. Aren't you curious? You want to lay odds, Wolfie? You want to bet that he gets probation?
Don't make it fall, but I'm moving my shit.
No one wrote that one. No one guessed that one. Our guesses that he gets probation. Look at, are they taking the mics down or are they putting them back up? What are they doing in here?
Come over, it's easy.
Well, I mean, we have all of our guesses in here on how much time is going to be. So we get 10 years, right? Supposedly, each prostitution thing holds a 10-year sentence, and he gets two of them, so that's 20 years. Unless they do it concurrent, and then that would be 10 years. Um, what if? I mean, you think he's gonna get probation? And do you think he's gonna get out today? I want to know how many people think he's gonna walk today.
I'm good, you're good.
I don't know. He may walk today. He may. And I'm telling you right now, if he walks today, he's going to come out of that courthouse is in. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. He's going to be huge. He's going to believe he's above the law, and he's going to think that he is all that in a bag of chips. Yep. It's going to happen. I thought they were going to have a press conference. I mean, I don't want y'all having to sit here. It's only 2:22 in New York right now, and they're not going to have the hearing till 5 today. So that would be like 2:30. That's 2.5 hours from now. But I thought they were going to have a press conference, and those guys were going to come out here and talk. That's what they're waiting for anyway. I want everybody to give me a 1 in the chat if you think he's going to walk today. Give me a 2 if you think that they're going to hold him until sentencing. Okay, Norm. Norm thinks that they're going to hold him. He doesn't think that they're going to put an ankle monitor on so that he can go hold his red, white, and blue freak-off party. Well, if he thinks he's going to walk so he can have his red, white, and blue freak-off party, Sputsy thinks he's going to walk too. There you go. It's I'm curious. I'm definitely curious on exactly how that's going to go. But I really wanted to hear the attorneys talk. And I guess they're having to fill out all that paperwork to get him out of there. Here, we got to make sure he's got the funds in his bank account so he can cover that $1 million bail so he can get off, so he can be out to watch the fireworks for the 4th of July. Boy, that puts freedom at a new level, doesn't it? I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's. I don't think this was. This is not the way this should have went down at all. This is not the way it should have went down. I'm kind of disappointed, but since day one, since we've been watching this, it's been nothing but a 3-ring circus anyway. So it should end on that note, on a 3-ring circus kind of note. Everything has been surprising, so I don't think I'd be shocked if he walked out. And I wouldn't be shocked if he got probation. Just saying. I wouldn't. I'm disappointed, but I wouldn't be shocked. It's interesting for sure. It's interesting. Exactly when you look at it, how and what and why and what they were thinking, and I don't know. I mean, would it really surprise you if he walked out the door? Would it really surprise you if he got probation? I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And I'm sure these reporters are getting tired of waiting for them to walk up. But I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork, and they've got to make sure that he's got that $1 million in his account. Got to have that $1 million in his account so that they can give him the bail, so that he can. I mean, does he have that kind of cash in? Well, maybe he's got that kind of cash in his house. They testified he had all kinds of cash. So we're going to have to get it all to the bank. Well, I don't know. I guess if you if he got bail of $1 million, isn't it just 10%? So we would only have to put up $100,000, right, in cash? I'm sure they could come up with that kind of cash in a heartbeat. He probably has that sitting underneath his bed in a shoebox. And they'll slap that. If he gets off and they put up $100,000 in cash, that's a slap in the face. Not that the whole case hasn't been a slap in the face. I don't know. We'll give this just a little while longer, and hopefully somebody comes out here and says something. I'm really curious what's going on in there. Saddened by the whole trial. I guess this is our evidence here that people don't look at these crimes the way we used to, right? Society doesn't find these crimes to be that important. Is this what we've come to as a society, that crime is like that? Is that, I mean, is this where we're at? You can traffic people, but we'll just call it prostitution, and we can force you to do something, but we'll call it prostitution. And then if you don't do it, I can beat the brakes off of you, but we'll call that prostitution too. No. I take that back. We'll call that domestic violence, because that wasn't even on the table. So we can force you to do things you don't want to do, and that will be considered prostitution because you got paid for it. What? And then you can travel you all over everywhere and hire people, but that'll be considered prostitution too. And then we can make your parents pay so much money to keep your tapes from being seen, because, you know, I guess that falls under prostitution too. I mean, all of these things I'm telling you were proven, and all he got was prostitution. That's all he got out of the whole case. That's what he got it for, prostitution. So it's not P. Diddy, it's Pimp Diddy. And they were all consenting adults, whether he beat them and made them do it or not. I don't know where people's minds are at. This is our society right now. Kind of scary, huh? This is how twisted we've become. I don't know. And like I said, is it going to be probation? I don't know. And it doesn't look like they're going to talk anytime soon. And I hate to hold you all captive here, watching these cameras, waiting for somebody to talk, and they're not going to. They're probably not going to talk until after 5 today, after they put the ankle monitor on him. I really believe, Norm, I hate to disagree with you, but I really believe they're going to let this monster go. They're going to set him free, right back into the streets again. And do you think he's not a flight risk? I mean, whether he's wearing an ankle monitor or not. Do you think he's not a flight risk? They say no. He had his plane. Here's the thing. He had his plane fueled up and ready to go in New York before they arrested him that night, because they were afraid he was going to flee then. Of course, now that he's been only found guilty of prostitution, maybe he wouldn't flee. I don't know. Or maybe he doesn't want to do another day in jail, so maybe he will. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things to think about here. Unless he gets off on probation, and if he gets off on probation, he'll never see another day in jail unless he gets caught doing it again. And then I don't think he'd be afraid, because he already beat this case. I don't know. Just food for thought. Definitely food for thought. And I am sure the prosecution right in there right now is filing a motion after motion after motion after motion to keep him. And I don't know. They're going to want to keep him. Prosecution's going to want to keep him. But the way this court hearing has been, how, you know what? Think about this. How does a man? Wait a minute, Whoopi. I got a question and I want you to answer it. How does a man get charged on prosecution, or how does he get charged on prostitution when the defense had no defense? He had no witnesses. There was no defense at all. None. Nobody defended Diddy. They had a 30-minute defense, and this is what he got. How does that happen? If somebody didn't get paid off or somebody wasn't planted on that jury. Nobody even got up to defend him. I mean, there's so many holes in this thing. It's unbelievable to me. And they find him guilty of prostitution. It's got to be, Norm. It's got to be. Nobody got up on the stand to defend Diddy. Yes. I believe that. Definitely. Because nobody got on the stand for Diddy. Nobody defended Diddy. They had a 30-minute defense. You got to know that those attorneys knew. They knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that somebody was in there and that he was going to be, what he was going to be found guilty of. We'll find him. Okay, so we'll find him guilty of the less of all charges, okay? And then we'll pay everybody else off. I mean, come on. No defense? How do you win a case like this with no defense? No witnesses. Nobody's standing up for you. You have 34 witnesses testifying against you, and nobody, not one person, stood up in his defense, and he still won. How does that work? How does that work like that? I mean, I'm curious how much money he had to put on the table, money under the table to get that fixed like that. I don't know. Yep. It was all about that, Norm. It was all about that. It had to have been. And it will be, and you know, that same sign right there is going to get him probation or bail for sure. So he can get out of there. He doesn't want to spend another night in jail. Don't you think, Whoopi? Don't you think? How do you think? How do you think a man gets off of all of these charges? Go, Whoopi, go. Yeah, I mean, I'm just all confused now. And it doesn't take much to confuse me, but I am all confused. Huh. Totally confused. No one even not even his mom got on the stand and said, my son has never been guilty of doing anything bad to anybody. Nobody. And and they found him not guilty. How can that jury find him not guilty of all those things when nobody got up to testify for him? The more I think about it, the more shocked I get. The more I analyze it and go through it in my head, it's shocking to me. It's just totally shocking to me. I know, right, Norm? Right? Even his mom didn't want to be on there saying he was okay. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'm sure I bet you they are running their legs off and running all over everywhere to get him out as soon as possible. Let's get him out now. Let's get him out now. Well, they still got a couple hours before the judge is going to go, they can go forward with their stuff, but I don't know, guys. It's it's totally surprising to me how we got off of all of that. I will never know. It's what, 2:45 New York time, and they're gonna go in at 5. Do you guys want to call it for now, and then I'll pop back on right before 5, and we can see what's going on then? Or do you want to just sit here and hang out and wait and see what happens? What do you guys think? I mean, I'm not doing anything. It doesn't matter to me, but I was kind of hoping that somebody would come out and talk. Doesn't look like they're going to do that. They're too busy up to their eyeballs in paperwork. Okay, so you have stuff to do later, or you have stuff to do now and you'll come back? You have stuff to do now and then you can come back later? Okay, so let's call it for now, guys, and I will meet you back here. We'll say at 10 minutes to 4 Central Time, because that'll be like 10 minutes to 5 Eastern Time, and that's when all of that's supposed to take place. Sound like a winner to everyone? Sounds like a winner to me. All right, guys. I'll see you at 3:45 Central Time. All right, guys. See you in a little bit. Bye.
From shady news to crime so rough, you already know we just can't make this stuff